Hi, FOM 10 students. This is lesson 2 of our unit on linear functions. It's called parallel and perpendicular slopes. I'm going to call mine answer key. And it looks like this. First, let's remember the definition of parallel and perpendicular lines from grade 8. Parallel lines are two lines that are in the same plane and never touch. Excuse me. And perpendicular lines are two lines that meet each other at 90 degrees. Meet each other at a 90-degree angle. So we'll first start off with parallel lines. And it says, in the space provided, find the slopes of the pairs of lines. What do you notice about their slopes? So first of all, the slope of AB. And remember, slope is equal to rise over run. So for AB, the rise is that, 1, 2, 3 units, over the run is 1, 2 units to the right. So up 3, so that's a positive 3, 2 to the right, positive 2. So we have a slope of 3 over 2. And the slope of CD we could do like this. Notice it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 this way and 4 this way. Okay, so the slope is rise over run, 6 over 4, which is also equal to 3 over 2. Okay, let's check out EF and GH. The slope of EF would be like this, 2 down, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have a negative 2 rise and a 6 run. So the rise is negative 2 over a run of 6. In lowest terms, that's negative 1/3. And the slope of GH is 1 down, 1, 2, 3 to the right. So negative 1 rise and a positive 3 run. Okay, and you can see that those end up being equal. So AB is parallel to CD, and their slopes are equal. Also, EF is parallel to GH, and their slopes are equal. Okay, so that's the main crux of parallel lines. They have equal slopes, is what that's trying to show. Okay, how about perpendicular lines? In the space provided, find the slopes of the pairs of lines. What do you notice about their slopes? So let's find the slope of AB. The rise is negative 2. The run is 1, 2, 3. So the slope of AB is rise over run. And the slope of CD, okay, so these two lines are perpendicular, meaning they meet at a 90-degree angle. You can see the run is 2, and the rise is 1, 2, 3. So the rise is 3, and the run is 2. Okay, how about EF? The rise is 2 down. The run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the slope of EF is negative 2 over 6, which is negative 1 over 3. And GH is 1 to the right, 3 up. So the rise is 3, the run is 1, 3 over 1. Okay? And we kind of have to compare these slopes. We've got negative 2 over 3, and the slope of something perpendicular to that is 3 over 2. Versus down here, the slope of EF is negative 1 over 3, and the slope of GH, which is perpendicular to EF, is 3 over 1. And here's how we say it. So AB is perpendicular to CD, and their slopes are negative reciprocals, they are called. negative reciprocals. And what reciprocals means, it's a fancy way of saying that the fractions are flipped. See how this one is 2 over 3, it becomes 3 over 2. With opposite signs in front of them. Okay, so they have to have opposite signs and the fractions are flipped. Also, EF is perpendicular to GH and their slopes are negative reciprocals. Or we could also say it as opposite reciprocals. Okay, so flipped fractions and opposite signs. Okay, one is positive, one is negative for perpendicular lines. Okay, so here's a summary. When lines are parallel, their slopes are equal. That's pretty easy. And when lines are perpendicular, means they meet at a 90-degree angle, their slopes are opposite and reciprocal. Okay, so we could think of it as opposite signs, one positive, one negative, and reciprocal, which means flipped fraction. Okay, so example 1, slopes of lines A, B, and C are given below. Line A and B are parallel. We can do that in shorthand like this. A is parallel to B. While line C is perpendicular, A is perpendicular to C. Fill in the chart below. Okay, so if the slope of line A is 2 over 5, line B is parallel to that, so its slope will be also 2 over 5. Line C is perpendicular, so the fraction is flipped, and we have to have the opposite sign. Okay, for the next one, negative 3 1/3, let's change that to a rise over run, an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10 over the bottom number, so it's negative 10/3. A and B are parallel, so this will also be negative 10/3, 10 over 3. And C is perpendicular, so the fraction will be flipped and have the opposite sign. The opposite of a negative sign is a positive sign, which we don't usually write. Okay, and the last one, if the slope of C is 7, as a fraction that's 7 over 1. And so anything perpendicular to that will be the flipped fraction with the opposite sign. So the slope of B is negative 1 over 7, and A and B are parallel, so A has a slope of negative 1 over 7. All right, let's try example 2. Determine the slopes of each pairs of lines. Then state if the lines are parallel or perpendicular. Okay, and so for this we are going to use slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the slope of wx, I'm going to write subscript wx there for this line segment wx. And I'm going to go y2 minus y1, so 9 minus 0 over x2 minus x1, negative 5 minus 7. So we're going to get 9 over negative 12. In lowest terms, that is going to be negative 3 over 4. So there's the slope of wx. And then we will also do the slope of AB. And you go y2 minus y1, so negative 2 minus 10. And I started on that B point, so I have to go x2 minus x1. So we are going to get negative 12 over negative 9, which is 4 over 3. And this is the slope of AB. Okay, and so notice that those fractions are flipped and they have opposite signs. Okay, which means that these two line segments would be perpendicular. All right, how about letter B? Let's go y2 minus y1, 5 minus negative 1, and x2 minus x1. So we end up getting add opposite 6, add opposite 6 over 3, which is 2. That is the slope of ST. And over here we are going to do the slope of UV and go y2 minus y1, 3 minus negative 1, x2 minus x1, 4 minus 2. Add the opposite, so we're going to get 4 over here and 2 on the bottom. 4 over 2 is 2. Slope of UV. Okay, and we can see that those slopes are equal, so these lines are going to be parallel. Okay, example 3 says determine the value of k which obeys the following conditions. The slopes of parallel line segments are 3 over 8 and 9 over k. Parallel line segments have equal slopes, so we just go 3 over 8 has to equal 9 over k. And we could do this by cross multiplying if you want. Might be the safer bet. So we end up getting 3 times k equals 8 times 9 is 72. And divide both sides by 3 to get k by itself. 72 divided by 3 is equal to 24, so k equals 24. Okay, and the slopes of perpendicular line segments are 1 over 3 and k over 5. So something perpendicular to 1 over 3 would be the flip of that fraction and the opposite sign, so negative 3 over 1. So the k over 5 has to equal negative 3 over 1. And let's do our cross multiply thing. K equals 5 times negative 3, which is negative 15. Okay. So that is the end of the lesson notes. Here is the assignment that you can try. And I think there is an answer key at the end of this. If you look at all of these questions, yes, there is an answer key. So try the questions, check your answers, and I will do a video showing the solutions to this, and I will send it out to you later in the week. Okay, so there you go, everybody. That is lesson 2 for linear functions. Got a homework assignment you can try there, and I will talk to you again soon.